All right, what's up? It's Black Hollywood. During the break, Josh and I were talking, and I did say, sadly enough, the black man is treated like the pit bull.
The American pit bull.
The black man is treated like a pit bull. As we know, pit bulls are very loving dogs, very very sweet dogs, very protective dogs. But also have a stigma about them based off of the outliers that act a certain way or the potential that they have. There's already a stigma about them based off the potential they have, right? And I see that a lot when it comes to black men. There's this not a stigma, but we know that people feel like they can act theatrical around us in the sense of, oh my God, this is happening. Oh my God, Will Smith and Chris Rock had a dispute, this is happening. Will Smith is now dangerous, even though he's been serving us for the last 30 years, making us laugh, making us cry, making us feel closer together as a family. But now he's a threat. While they still go see, while Dana White is still afloat, while Ezra Miller is still afloat, right? While all these other things happen in life and everyone else gets to go on with their life and proceed with it, black men are held into that fire and are crucified for it. We don't get crucified. Are lynched for it, publicly lynched for it for the rest of their career, if you want to call it that. And it kills me, and it's saddening to me. It really is. And I refuse to ever, let my story be of that. It's not happening. I'm not for it. I built a media company because I'm completely against that. We have a case of a man named David Cho, part of Netflix Beef, right? It's a series called Beef. You guys can look up the clip yourself. He talks about this. They say fabricated rape now, but this he talks about what he did to a massage
Therapist.
a masseuse during a massage in an unsaid location. He talked about the things he made her do that she didn't want to do against her will. And what's taking place is very interesting. I wonder why that story dissipated, because I thought it wouldn't. I said, this is actually a legit concern to the masses.
And this interview was back in 2014, by the way.
It's 2014.
Yeah.
We talk about that people can change, but for the most part, we don't change very much. There's statistics to show that, there's proof to show that our personality traits don't change, especially with things as aggressive as rape.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Rape. Actually, this is actually happened, and the person's confessing it themselves, right?
Oh, by the way, YouTube is sensitive with that word, so just say grape.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very sensitive with that word. Just say grape. They'll know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you guys, you understand, forcefully having sex.
Yeah.
So, with that being the case, it's saddening to me. It's concerning. And I read today to see where that case is at, because we see Jonathan Majors. He's as good as done at this point, especially in the eyes of the public and the way they're doing him. Well, I want to see how these other actors are doing that are also underneath the same type of fire. So I thought, Ezra Miller, The Flash will be coming soon. You guys will enjoy that, and you'll enjoy other films he'll be a part of course, because his career will not be changing. As far as David Cho, the creators of the show came forward, the creators and other actors of the show came forward and said, yes, this is a concern, but don't worry, David Cho has put in the work since this interview. And in short, he put in the work, nothing to see here. All is well, let's presume, with the film career as usual. And in their own words, they say he put in the work. And what they mean is he put in the mental health work he needed since this podcast. He's no longer the guy who raped his masseuse. Don't worry about it. Or, sorry for using the word again, but don't worry about it. I have two feelings about that, and they're both polarizing feelings about it. One, I am saddened that you can just dismiss something like this that's so severe. I don't think the amount of money that masseuse can get paid to escape the trauma of being forced, maybe even again, by someone of status to do something she don't want to do. And then 2 is how that community sticks that
Together.
how that the South Korean community, the Asian community stuck together to get that story out of rotation, but saying, hey, he put in the work. This is it. This is done. We're not talking about this anymore. And then the flip side is how Jonathan Majors is being lynched and going through his thing. And my question,
And no one really has his back.
and not one person has his back.
Not one person. All those connections he made, all the friends that helped him with favors, his agents, his managers, all those people, and they don't.
He's on an island. He's on an island. He's on an island. The island I don't see Ezra Miller on that island. I don't see David Cho on that island. They're not on one. But for some reason the black community, make a misstep and that's you. That's all on you. Mm-hmm. It's crazy because I called you. I was your cousin a week ago. I need that favor, but now that the public's on you, there's nothing to really help you with. To be honest with you, I saw Creed because of Jonathan Majors. Mm-hmm. I got a ticket because of Jonathan Majors. I've seen the other actors act. Good actors. But I went there for Jonathan Majors. I've seen promo lately that hasn't had him in it.
Of course.
But shout out to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers released an ad that starts out with Jonathan Majors. WB did it about a week ago. And that's what told me that he's probably going to be okay. They did it about 3 or 4 days ago. They released an ad that's primarily Jonathan Majors.
Marvel hasn't fired him either.
Shout out to WB. Shout out to WB. Shout out to Marvel for waiting for once. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to give us up to. The black community, you failed me. Shout out to Marvel. Shout out to WB.
More like Disney. Shout out to Disney.
Shout out to Disney. Shout out to WB.
Yeah.
For taking the diligence and following the judicial process as it's been put in place.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty. That's not optional. We're not God. If God doesn't judge us to the end of our days, why should you or I have the ability to do so? Why should people viewing this as the ability to judge a man before the end of his days? And especially, and now let's go to the modern society. In modern society, you're innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's about judging. I think it's about just not jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which could be in the same vein as judging.
Yeah.
But it's just like we don't, it's incredible how for David Cho's situation, he had Steven Yeun, the creators of that show, basically back him up. You know what I mean? They said that, he's been putting in the work, everything's fine, yada, yada, yada. But with Jonathan Majors, no one really came to his, and I would like to assume that Jonathan Majors is before all this happened, was a really well-liked guy. You know what I mean? Probably more well-liked than David Cho.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who David Cho was until
his team came and protected him, escorted him out.
Yeah.
Gonna protect us. Say, hey, Beef Season 2 is coming. He's starring it.
Yeah.
What y'all gonna do about it? Because we rock together.
Yeah, dude. And the thing about what I realized about the black community, I don't want to say this. I'm just gonna say it. It seems like when we see one of us does well, we want to. Not everybody, but a lot of us wants to tear that person down.
It does seem that way.
That's why we don't come to that person's quote unquote rescue or try to help that person or shield and protect that person, because honestly, a lot of African Americans are Americanized, while as you have your Latin communities, your Asian communities, they're not Americanized. They still have that culture that's been within their family from when they were from their Asian countries. Same with the Latin culture. While as with the African American culture, we've been so removed from the African culture for hundreds of years that we have become Americanized.
Oh yeah.
The United States used to be built off family. The African American used to be 26% of the United States population back during the Civil Rights Movement. Now we're cut in half.
You cut in half.
13%, 11% maybe. 13% is at best. We're probably at 11%.
That's why here.
And the way that the black community has been destroyed and how we've turned against each other because of the white people. Not all white people, but let's just say the white government. The government.
I call them casting.
Yeah.
Because we audition. That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
That their community was rewarded. There's a community that was rewarded for staying together. There's a community rewarded for unity. When your slave got away, I would call you and tell you, hey, your slave ran off. Then there's the other side of that. There was a community underneath that was designed based off auditioning, based off of, can I please you, master? Can I please you more than the other guy so I don't get punished the same way he does? So I get rewards like he doesn't have. Maybe I get inside where it's cooler, or I can be inside the house and things like that. So our culture as African American was already this climbing mentality to get out of this hole.
Like crabs in a bucket.
And people always say, people say we're crabs in a bucket, and then you ask who put us in this bucket to begin with.
Like I said, because of the...
But yeah. Whether who put us in this bucket or not, whatever came first, the chicken and the egg, I don't care at this point. All we know is this mentality that we have to step on each other to get up there, and as soon as one of us falls, we move out of the way to let them fall quicker. And that's why we're such a weak. That's why we're a weak demographic, economically.
And
socially.
Call like it is. My great auntie, God rest her soul, she said that back in her day, when she was like a kid, it wasn't just your parents raising you. It was your neighbors raising you. It was the whole neighborhood raising you. Everybody knew each other. She said, especially when she lived in an all-black neighborhood, mm-hmm. not the hood, but an all-black neighborhood, mm-hmm. just a black suburbia. She said that was all that was how it was back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's not like that at all. Nowadays, our community is not as unified as we should be. While it's back then, we were more unified because civil rights movement, mm-hmm. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and just there was a whole lot of things against us. So we had no choice but to stick together.
Right.
The black family was stronger back then.
Right.
Now the black family is not very strong.
No.
It's not strong at all.
No.
And the black community has failed in a lot of years because, in my opinion, from the lack of a strong household, from the lack of that community that we used to have. And it's heartbreaking, Like I'm lucky, and I believe you're lucky. Yes, we had stepdads, but we were still raised in a 2-parent household.
Oh yeah, both my parents very loving. Both my biological parents are very loving.
A lot of our contemporaries, a lot of our peers did not have that same luxury. A lot did not have that same luxury.
Yeah. I grew up in a single parent household. So my mom was single for the duration I was growing up. Mm-hmm. But my dad's super loving. My mom's super loving. Even when them being separate, they both were very involved. Yeah,
and that's great, man.
So yeah, shout out to my parents. And then, yeah, and I can't say it enough, man. Shout out to Warner Brothers and Disney both for waiting to see the results of.
They're waiting until May 8th.
As they should.
Yeah, as they should. And it was really upsetting when his talent agency dropped him. I think they're Talent 360 or Entertainment 360, whatever they're.
Yeah, I don't know. It almost sounds like that was an argument to me. That stuff does, because your agents wouldn't drop you for that. Agents are not dropping people like that.
His agents. He still has his agents. His managers. My bad. His managers dropped him.
Well, he's probably snapping on them, man. I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but I'll tell you this, guys. When it's reps, they know they're in secret. Reps don't get brownie points because no one knows who they are. Mm-hmm. Your agents don't get brownie points because no one knows who they are. It's not for the public. And so usually if you're super like anxious or you're on the edge and you're calling them saying, what's going on about me? What's going on in the media? Are you doing anything about it? You guys have a dispute and you're like, okay, then drop me then.
Yeah.
It can be a mutual dispute, but typically me reading that, I read it differently. Of course, the manager wants to make it sound like, oh yeah, we dropped him, but it's probably an argument based off of how his PR situation is going and how you guys aren't keeping under wraps. And they're like, well, we can't do anything for you.
Because his PR company dropped him too.
It's probably an argument, the PR thing. And
yeah.
and I can tell you that stems from off camera, but yeah, I know how that all. I dealt with the reps guys. I've dealt with them time and time again, and your reps will ride for you. They'll ride for you, unless you're just attacking them, which I'm not gonna say that, but
Yeah. I understand.
yeah. Anyways, we are amazed by how well other communities stick up for each other, how many other communities ride for each other,
Protect their own.
they protect their own, and we're still amazed and disappointed at how the black community, as soon as one of us gets in trouble, as soon as one of us falls, we all move out of the way to let them fall a little bit quicker, a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
Disappointing, but it's to be expected, and that's why we're here to change it.
Exactly.
This is Black Hollywood.
It'll be great.